Good morning. Here we are. Day one. We're live. What's up, Ann?
Hey, what's up? Hey guys.
We're gonna have to get that music fixed. That's glitching on that. It's driving me nuts. But we got a few people watching here, and it looks like we are live streaming in the group. So that's a plus. That's a good start right off the bat. I can tell. Hey, is everybody ready for day one? Because I know it's been a good weekend. I'm sure for a lot of you. I've talked to a few of you this weekend. And I know I'm excited for this week because I always like challenge week. I like seeing people actually get some results. How about you, Ann?
Yeah, I'm excited too. Definitely
This
excited.
is this is going to be Ann's first time joining for the whole week. So for you who didn't know, Ann has been around with me for a while, and she's hit the 100K club, and now she's going to share some of that knowledge this week and her experience too. That way, you're not just hearing it from me. So Um, Ann, where are you at? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll dive into what we're going into this week.
I am based in Iowa, closer to Des Moines, a little suburb called Grimes. So that's where I market at. That's actually pretty much right now where I market at because I get so many leads. So it's just where I stay for now.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, let's see. And I'm in my house. You can tell I don't do the whole background thing. So I'm real. I'm a real person. I'm a mom.
Are you saying
Wife.
I'm not a real person because I have a background? Come on.
I'm a wife and a mom of three girls, 11, 9, and 7, and soon to be 12 for my oldest. And so that's been challenging. But what has my business of real estate investing has really helped me be able to be there for my kids whenever I needed to be. I just went to my daughter last week, my second daughter's assembly. They have an assembly for them, and they recognize them for things that they do for like respect and all that. So I was able to go to that and really love that about the aspect of my business. And if it wasn't for Aaron, I wouldn't be where I'm at today because my mindset was not stuck on. I was always trying to put everything into my business, like everything, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gotten to where my business is now into my family and where my family is important to me. And it's my number one thing. So
Good stuff. Well, we'll dig into that a lot more. You'll learn a lot about Ann and me during this week, but I want to give you guys a layout first of how the week's going to go, because I'm not sales pitchy. I'm not pushy at all. I am actually going to tell you how to do this. It's not just a 5-day pitch, I guarantee you. My goal is to actually give you valuable information that if you never talk to me again, you could use and go out and you could change your life. That's my goal for this week. And so every day I'm going to go live for about an hour. Ann's going to join me for a lot of it or most of it, I think. That way she can pull her experience and outside opinions and views in as well. So we're going to go live for about an hour every day. And then after the hour, we'll have the VIP Q&A. So we'll jump into Zoom with just the VIP access holders and kind of go over the day, answer any questions, stuff like that. Now, you're going to have Monday through Friday, an hour every day where I'm going to go all in. I'm not going to pitch. I'm going to give you value this whole week. And then Friday is our last day, day 5. And I will give you Saturday and Sunday to watch the replays because I know you got W-2 jobs and a lot of people will be catching up on the weekend. But I have been primarily one-on-one coaching for 4.5 years. And if there is not a deadline, you will not do it. You'll put it off and try to do it later. So you will have this week for the replays, and then you'll have over the weekend to catch up. And then next Monday, I delete all the replays and everything from the group. I want you to do it and implement this week. So take what you learned this week, and if you do it each day, it's going to be better, right? Watch either live or on the replay, either way, and implement. Actually do it. Sit down, think about it, put it to work in your business, and say, what's this look like for me, right? What's it practically look like for me? And if you do that every day, you'll be keeping up, right? If you do it on the replays, that's fine. Watch a replay and then do what it is that we talk about, right? How does this apply to me? How do I use this in my life, my business? If you do that, you will have things implemented this week, okay? That way, next Monday, you're not shooting me a message going, hey, Aaron, where's the replays? Okay? I want to make sure you know and understand because every single time that happens. and I want you to win. That's why I'm going to put a deadline on the actual replays. Now, if you have the VIP access, you'll have the replays forever. So you're going to have to push that on yourself a little bit. But we'll do our best to make sure that you actually like get value out of it and you know how to put it to work. Okay. So I will try to watch the comments and try to interact a little bit if we can throughout this week, but I want to respect your time. Time is one thing. Time is not money. Time is infinitely more valuable than money. And so I want to respect your time and I want to try and keep it to an hour because I have a tendency, especially if you guys are interacting and commenting, I have a tendency to want to like just keep going and giving and giving. But I realize we all have jobs and everybody's got kids and families and everything else. So I want to make sure that we keep you to an hour and we give you stuff that is actionable for you. Okay. So, having said that, my process is fast scalability. It's kind of what I call it, right? FAST is the acronym, but FAST stands for foundation, automation, systems, and then traffic. For pretty much any business or anything you have going on, right? We're going to focus on real estate. We're going to focus on how you can get leads organically and make money through leveraging social media, right? That's what this week is about. But understand these concepts will work for any business, anytime in your life, okay? So foundation, automation, systems, and traffic. If you build a good foundation in your company, and that's what we're going to talk about today, knowing what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it that way, who you're speaking to, how you help them, everything there is to know about that person and how you run things, that gives you the base of how you, for all of your marketing. It gives you the base for building your automation, your systems. It gets you a firm understanding of who you're talking to so you can get traffic and get the right traffic. So foundation is huge. Then we move into automation and systems, and they kind of work together in that. They kind of, a lot of those will flow together, but day two and three will go into automation and systems where you're actually creating, this is how we do it. That way you can have other people do it for you. You can have software do it for you. You can have other things do it for you. That's what automations and systems does. And then all you need is traffic. And that's something a lot of people leave out is where do the people come from? I built a website, but nobody's coming to it. I've got this really pretty website for sellers, but no sellers ever see it. So traffic is huge. And that's what we're going to give you on day 4. And we're going to show you how to find organic direct to seller and partnerships where you can get them just through Facebook and how to leverage that. So we're going to give you some cool strategies. That way, if you never buy anything from me ever, or you never talk to me ever again, you have a way to make some money and change your life. And we've had people come out of this, and I'm sure you've heard the stories too, but we've had people, I had one lady, I think on the last challenge, she put $2,000 in her pocket within like a week or two of the challenge. I was like, whoa, that's definitely the fastest we've seen somebody get a result. But, and I know since then she's implemented, and we've really, like, she never bought anything from me or anything. She just took and just worked with what she had. So I really want you guys to pay attention this week and put it to work, like, as we go. Ann, do you have anything to add on the flow of this week or anything just on that?
I was gonna say Aaron is not lying. He when he says he's gonna do something, he will do it. And I will tell you, the first challenge that I took and that's how I got to know Aaron a bit more, was doing a 5-day challenge. And I was just getting behind, and I was getting to the weekend, and I was like, oh, I want these videos. And then all of a sudden they were gone. I was just like, okay, never mind. I'm getting that's after when I decided just to get with Aaron. But that's not the point. I'm just letting you know that's real, legit. So
I want to see some interaction with you guys this week too, because it will light me up. It will keep me like giving good information and better information. And if you guys have questions, comments, anything, even if you're watching on the replay, okay, this week I'm dedicating time to this. All right. So I am big on, like I said, your time is the one thing you can't get back. And so me personally, my God is first, and my ministry that he's given me, then my family, and then my paid clients, and then my free give back. That's like the way I structure my time. It's the way I structure where I invest my time and where I pour into things. Okay. And so my God will always come first, my ministry, then my family, then my paid stuff, and then my free stuff. This is a free challenge, but I am committing to this for an entire week. So you will get my attention, even if you're watching on the replays in the middle of the night after the kids are in bed and you're home from your W-2. Okay, I understand. And I will try to make sure we get your questions answered in the comments and everything else. Just interact this week, because next week when I delete the replays and everything and I go back to that list of priorities, interacting and just playing on Facebook is not a priority for me. Okay, so I want to make sure I deliver tons of value to you this week. I answer all of your questions this week. That way next week you're just up and rolling on your own. Okay, so even if you're watching on the replay or if you're watching live, I want to see some interaction. Okay, so put your comments, put what you like, if you don't like it, stuff like that. So let's try it right now. Is this making sense? Are you here? Because I see people watching. So put it in the comments. Let us know you're here watching #live, or just put I'm here or whatever, excited for the week, or man, he won't stop talking. He hasn't said anything valuable yet. I don't care what you put in there, just interact.
I can't see the comments, sorry. So all I see is what's over here in the chat thingy, and I see Facebook users, so I don't know who that is.
There we go. We got a couple people. I'm jumping back and forth between Facebook and the live. And
hi, whoever said hi, Annie. Hi.
Yep, there we go. We got a few people. There's a few people that know Ann. I know that's how you ended up here, so that's good. But we'll try to jump back and forth. Okay, so a little bit about me, because some of you don't have any idea who I am. My name's Aaron Jennings. 5 years ago, I started investing in real estate. 11 years ago, I was a police officer in Wichita, Kansas, and so was my wife. I had just went through a divorce, and I was just ticked off with life. And my wife and I were dating at that time. In 2011, we actually quit our jobs in the police department, sold our house, got married, and left the country as full-time missionaries. Now, that's a massive change, and we did it all in 1 month, the month of May 2011. And before that, it was like I had the American dream, right? I had a big house on 10 acres of land. I had a good job, benefits, retirement. All of this stuff was kind of going my way, if you will, right? Even though like I went through a divorce and I was ticked off at life at the time, it was a burnout. It was like the American dream is what I had, but the American dream was frustrating the crap out of me. Like all of my time off and all of my spare money was spent keeping up my big house on 10 acres of land, instead of actually traveling or helping anybody else or doing anything other than go to work, and then on my days off, work on my house. And that was kind of all life was at that time, right? And so I was ready for a change, and we decided to shake everything up. We got married, we got rid of the house, quit the jobs and everything, took off as full-time missionaries. 7 days later, we're standing in the slums of Kenya, and there was a guy laying there dying in the mud. And I was like, what's wrong? How can we help? And they're like, well, he's dying, but the government won't help, and we don't have any money. So he's just going to lay there until he dies. And I was just thinking about that. I was like, just laying there in the mud, and there was nothing we could do about it. And there was people living in trash igloos. Like they had sticks that they had bent to make the frame of an igloo. And they would pull out trash bags and garbage and newspapers, and they would layer it over these sticks. And then they would bend more sticks to hold it down, and they would layer more trash. And they literally had igloos made out of trash, and that's where people were living. And I remember standing there thinking, how can we fix this, or what can we do? Right? We were over there and we had met 12, I think, 10, 12, something like that, other Americans for this 2 weeks that they were going to be there. And we were there for 30 days. And 12 Americans came up with about $260, and we were able to feed 50 people in the slums for 2 weeks. And I remember that most of them were kind of like, yeah, like this is awesome. We did a good work. And I was just thinking, this is pathetic. Like, how did 12 Americans only come up with $260? Like, that's all the impact we're going to have here. And I remember like right then, 7 days into my full-time missions career, of thinking, what if I was standing here as a rich missionary instead of a broke one? Right? The American dream didn't fulfill me. And now here I am traveling around the world trying to help people, and I still can't help anybody. Right? I was like, there's no way that everything can be frustrating. Right? What if I was standing here as a rich missionary instead of a broke one? That picture of being there, right? Being in the slums of Kenya and actually smelling it and seeing people live in trash igloos. I've held on to that image ever since. And that's been almost 12 years now. That's the reason that I have started to create what I've created. That's the reason that I do business the way that I do business. At that point, I thought, what if I was a rich missionary instead of a broke one? And that question fueled every business that I saw after, because I had to be able to go when God says go and be able to have a lot of money when I went. Like that was what I was trying to create. How do I make money online to where I could still travel, go and do, to where if God says go, I'm like, boom, let's go. I don't have to shut down my business and I don't have to give up working or money to go and now raise money to try and help people. And so that has fueled everything. It took me 6 years of fighting and struggling after that to try and figure out how to make money from anywhere, because everything was like travel blogger and writer and photographer and all these things that made a little money, but not a lot of money. And then I found real estate. I went to a 2-day, we were living in Mississippi. I went to a 2-hour seminar where I heard the word wholesaling the first time ever in my life. I'd never even heard of it. And I grew up a handyman. I could build a house from the ground up. Like I've been a construction guy. I knew everything I thought there was to know about building and fixing things. And then I hear wholesaling and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. You can just flip paper from anywhere in the world and make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. I was like, I was mind blown, because to me, that took me 6 years to find. 6 years of trying to make money online so I could go as God said go. And that was like exciting and frustrating that it took so long to figure this out, because people were doing it. So I jumped up and I did one of those where I was the first one in the back of the room. I got a credit card out and I put $2,000 on a credit card to go to the 3-day weekend that I did not have. Right? My goal at that time, well, first of all, not my goal. My mindset at that time was, this changes my family tree forever. My mindset at that time was, if this works like they say, I could make tens of thousands of dollars from the slums of Kenya. Because even when we were staying at an orphanage in Kenya, we could get a cell phone with Wi-Fi on it. There was kids with cell phones with Wi-Fi, and they were living in mud huts. So like there was internet signal. And to me, that was like an epiphany. Like if you say all I need is to be able to call people and text or email people, and I could make tens of thousands of dollars, and I could have changed that situation in Kenya. I could have took that guy to the hospital. I could have rebuilt those trash igloos with at least mud huts. We could have drilled a well and gave him fresh water forever, right? Like that's what went through my mind. And so that made me get my credit card out and swipe it for $2,000 that I didn't have. And I thought, if this works like they say it works, I've got 30 days till this credit card bill comes due. I was like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get a deal and I'm going to make that money before the credit card bill is due. So I swiped the $2,000. I went to the 3-day weekend, and I remember sitting there and I blocked everything. And this is what I'm talking about today with foundation. So pay attention here. It's not just a story, okay? I'm into what I'm teaching you and why. So pay attention right now. I made a decision that wholesaling changed my life forever. Wholesaling, flipping the paper, is what would allow me to go when God says go and make 10, 20,000 and change those igloos and drill a well, right? Like that was the picture in my head. When I went to that 3-day weekend, they gave us everything. Here's sandwich lease options. Here's how you buy apartments. Here's how you flip. And I was like, I am not interested. If it is not wholesaling and flipping paper, I am not interested. I literally blocked everything out except for that. And I was just mind blown. I was like, oh, okay, I got the process. I know how to find buyers. I know how to find the deals. I know how to analyze the deals. And then they would bring something else in, right? Because they're trying to upsell you to the next coaching program. And I was like, nope, nope, nope. And now I understand sandwich lease options. And I'm like, those things really are the best thing in the world. It's amazing. I'm like, but I was not interested at that time. I was super, super focused on how do we flip paper from anywhere in the world, because that was the freedom to help people that I was seeking. It was a fulfillment, not just a money for me, right? It had to work together. I wanted to be able to travel and go as God says go, and be able to help people while I was there. I wanted to be the goer and the giver, okay? That's the picture that I wanted to create. My first question for you today is, what is it you're trying to create? Okay. Anne wanted to be able to make money and be a mom. She wanted to be a mom first, right? I wanted to be able to do it from anywhere in the world. This was before we have kids. And just so you know, we've done this with kids now too. When I heard of wholesaling, it was 3 months before we were moving to China. We had already accepted a job for a year in China, and I was going to be a stay-at-home dad to my 2-year-old and 4-year-old daughters while my wife taught English at a school there. That was when I was at this wholesaling weekend, was 3 months before that. So I was starting a new business with kids, with a full-time job, right before we moved to another country. Okay, so let's drop the excuses on day one right now. And I want you to think and visualize, dream a little bit, like dream with me this weekend. What does it look like when it's running the way you want it? When it's running the way I want it, I can pick up and go to another country today and just keep doing business like I'm doing. I will have time to go and help people and still be making money. I will be able to fire up the internet and do a 5-day challenge and help people change their lives so they can help more people, right? Like my business now will continue to run. What does yours do, right? Like put it in the comments as you start to have little epiphanies. Like share it with us. What does your business look like? What are you trying to accomplish? This is the foundation we're getting into today, okay? What does it look like when it's running properly? Most of us, we like working a little bit. We don't want to work 80 hours, 100 hours a week, but we wouldn't completely go hands off. So for me, I want to be able to work 4 hours a day or less and make at least $25K a month with 4 hours a day or less from anywhere in the world at any time. Put it in the comments. Share with me a little bit about right now what you have in mind. I realize this takes time to develop, right? But what are you thinking right now? Because it will change and develop during the week. Anne, what are you thinking right now? What's your business look like? Share yours with us, right? That's a little about mine. But what have you been creating?
Creating necessarily, I probably would say a legacy for my kids. I want them. So let's backtrack a little bit. I did processing statements for Citigroup for 9 years. I was laid off, and I just had my third daughter. And it was like literally a month after I had maternity leave, they were laying us off. And my husband's like, oh, you can stay home. And like Aaron said, we do like to work. I was like, I can't just do nothing. Okay. Can't just can't. I did in-home daycare. I was like, nah, it's not for me. And virtual assistant, which got me over cold calling. But I ran into the same thing with Aaron, ran into a program for wholesaling. And I was like, dude, that can change our lives. But the first thing I did was why? Went through stages of why. I had to have my husband ask me those questions because I couldn't do it for myself to find that deep why. It has to do, of course, always back with our childhood and the way that I grew up and watching my parents slave themselves away, working 40-hour, 60-hour weeks. My mom was working, and she even brought work home because we did sandpaper kits with my parents. Like work was like the top dog in our family. And I was like, I want my kids to see successful parents, that you don't have to slave your life away and not to be able to enjoy it. So that's my why. And that's why I keep working towards that. But at the same time, another thing I realized throughout this whole journey is like being a stay-at-home mom or parent, sorry, Dad, Aaron, it's hard. And I wanted to also help stay-at-home parents make a little bit of income to where they don't have to put 24/7 into it to do it. And so that was another why I'm doing this as well, is to create that bit of income. Even if it's $1,000, I know it'll make a parent home, happy and be like, look what I did, So that's where I'm going with my why, and where I'm going is to help that. I mean, there's other things that, I can do. I want to do it from anywhere. I want to be able to travel, of course, with my kids. I don't know how many times my girl's like, did you sell a house, Mom? We want to go somewhere.
Yep.
So
my girls did that too.
So that's where I'm going. That's my why. It's my legacy. I even want to open that up to, help my brothers, help my my mom and my stepdad, they're getting a little bit closer because every time I talk about it and they see my success and they're like, "Ooh, this sounds like really good to invest in real estate." So it's getting there.
Yep.
So
Well, and just to give you guys a little bit of a glimpse into the future, and you were maybe a year in, maybe, I'm not sure on the exact time frame, but I know there was a point where Anne started bringing her daughters in to help text sellers and things.
uh-huh.
And her daughters were actually working with her in her business, and she was teaching her daughters. Anne, how old are your daughters?
Actually, Maya was texting, at 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then Charlotte wanted to kind of help as long as I had something for her to look off of. Same with Maya. She's 7, but she was actually texting at 6. So she was able to text at 6. Yeah.
If you understand what you're creating, you're going to be open to things, right? Like I grew up in a 2,000 person town and I worked on everything with my dad. Like my dad was a handyman. He was a jack of all trades. He can do everything. And so I learned to do everything with my dad. It was what you did, right? Dad had a business. The kid comes with him and helps with the business. And nobody questions it in a small town, right? You go to a big city and that's not the way it is. You leave for work and the kids stay home, right? But you realize you can change that view anytime you want based on what you see your life being. That's the most important part is you have to have a picture of what your life is. What is it you're creating? Because if you're not creating something, the world will just give you whatever they think is best for them. And you'll have to decide whether you take it or not. Okay. So like, I know Anne was all about how do we create a business where I can be a stay-at-home mom and set an example for my kids and they can see a mom that's actually doing something, right? And parents that are successful. And so naturally it was like, hey, Anne, what if we create some canned text and you allow your kids start helping? And she was just like, what? Yeah, that'd be great. Right. Like, and the kids are excited, right? Like my girls are 6 and almost 9. February 1st is 9. So she's growing up stinking fast. It's crazy. But they've already started building funnels online. I'm like, if we don't teach them how to leverage the technology, the world will. And I want my part of my picture. I see my kids standing in a circle of friends and their friends are playing on their cell phones and they go, look at this picture or this music video. And my daughter goes, that's stupid. I've made $2,000 since we've been standing here. Like, I want my girls to be using their phones to learn and make money with and help people with. And I want them to understand that's the point, is to like better themselves and to better the world. And so we're teaching them that now. We build a business that way now, right? If you ever worked with me on anything, you will never have to apologize about having your kids in the background or them coming into the room. Like, that's great. That's what we're doing this for, right? And I see in the comments a couple people, Michaela, Paula, financial freedom, teach my kids, spend time with my kids. Like I know Michaela's just got a new one and she's wanting to work 10 to 20 hours from home, like spend time with the baby. And Paula, show my adult children how to do the same thing. Paula, go deeper, achieve financial freedom. What is financial freedom? How much is it? Right? Like Michaela put 6K, what'd you say, 6K a month? Yep, 6K a month. I said 25K a month, right? Give it a number. If we have a number, as we go this week, I'm going to show you how to reverse engineer that number to find out what you need hourly and daily to hit your goals. Okay, so when you're sharing those comments below, I'm going to help show you how to hit how to make those more practical for yourself. Okay, mm-hmm. But like, how much is financial freedom? Because I know a lot of you have that same goal. Achieve a financial freedom. What does that mean? Is it 5K a month? Is it 10K a month? Is it 100K a month? What does it look like? You have to define it. Okay. And that's what we're doing today. So for me, remember, I went to that 2-hour seminar. I pulled out my wallet. I paid $2,000. I went to that 3-day weekend. I knew in 3 months I was moving to China. So from day one for me was, how do I flip paper from China? Like, who do I need to meet over the next 3 months before I leave that could help me on the ground? Who do I need to line up? How do I do this? Everything was, how do I do it from China, right? I knew I'd have to notarize documents to close things. How do I do that from China? I knew that in China, they restrict, like they don't want influence from the Western world. So Facebook, Instagram, Google, anything Western world is actually forbidden and illegal in China. So because I'm crafting a business of how do I work online and flip houses from China in the United States, it leads me to the things that I need to solve, the problems I need to solve. It helps me ask better questions. Okay, I know I need to learn how to do this in America from China. I know China, it's illegal to use Google Voice phone number and Google, Gmail, right? And Facebook and social. So then it strikes the question, how can I do this in America from China? Which helps me find a VPN that makes my computer look like it's in a different country, right? You learn how to solve the problems based on the image, the vision of what you're trying to create. Okay. Some of you may have already started your business and you're struggling to make it consistent, or you're struggling to just keep it going. I guarantee you this is part of it. Because if you're struggling with what you're creating and you don't have a super clear picture of what you're creating and how you do what you do, you will chase every shiny object that comes along, right? How do we get rid of shiny object? This is how. You have to have a super clear picture, right? I was only a week later. I went to the 2-hour free seminar. A week later, I was at the 3-day weekend and I was blocking things out. I was like, no, no, no. I have to be able to wholesale from China. Yeah, that's awesome. I don't understand it. I'm not even going to try. How do I do that from China? Like, it was block everything out. It was super, super focused. And just so you know, that first year in China as a stay-at-home dad, I did 12 deals. I physically flipped 2 houses in the United States and I wholesaled 10. And that was my first year of real estate. I did $108,000 in less than 3 hours a day as a stay-at-home dad. My daughters were 2 years old and 4 years old. I was using Google Voice and Gmail and everything else, even through the forbidden government rules. And it was working because my entire focus was that. Literally, I was not open to anything other than that. I remember after the end of that 3-day weekend, I was sitting there and I was like, this is amazing. I'm so excited. I'm so pumped to get back home and start trying this and just getting ready to go to China. And I remember the lady who was sitting next to me for the whole 3 days, on the end, like towards the end of day 3, she leans over and she goes, so what do you think? Are you going to try it? And I just remember thinking, you have got to be kidding me. What do you mean, am I going to try it? We both spent $2,000 to be here. We both sat here for 3 days. And to me, I could visualize myself standing in the slums of Kenya and drilling a well. I could visualize myself in China with my daughters in the house and making tens of thousands of dollars wholesaling houses. I could visualize that. She sat through the same weekend. She paid the same amount of money. And she thought, this is kind of neat. I might give it a shot. You can sit in this 5 days and do the same thing, but today you better pick, because it will completely change this 5 days for you. Either you are in and you are here to learn and implement something because you see it as something that could change your life, or don't waste your time. Time's valuable. Don't waste it here if you're not going to do anything with it. Okay? Because I guarantee you that lady didn't get any results out of it. I guarantee you she's at the same job. She's comfortable. I was not comfortable, and I've changed my life since then. We travel. My girls have been to 3 countries. My little one turned 7 months old in the hill tribes of Burma as we took 720 pairs of sandals to people that didn't have shoes. We did a Bible school in the hill tribes of Burma, and she was 7 months old and 3 years old. Right? She had a passport at like 3 months old. It was ridiculous. But it was awesome because it falls in line with us, with what we want to do. If God says go, we go, period. And some of you don't know, I have lived in Fort Myers for almost 2 years now. Fort Myers, Florida. We were just hit by that hurricane that came through. And they're saying it was one of the top 5 worst storms in history is what they're saying now. It literally was moving so slow that it came over Fort Myers and it just spun for 6 hours. That's what happened. It wasn't a hurricane that just rushed through. It was moving so slow, it came right over the top and it just sat there. And we were able to be on Fort Myers Beach, walking through buildings, seeing if people were stuck before the EMTs and fire were the next day. Like, our girls were walking the beach with my wife while we were like hollering at buildings and looking for people. Like, as helicopters were coming in, we were ones that were there, right? We were able to take our girls and go start chainsawing and cleaning up debris and helping people that next week, right? While other people were worried about their jobs. My job, everybody who was working with me, they were just like, hey, Aaron, it's cool. Do what you got to do. We'll talk later. And I was doing coaching calls in the evenings instead of like during our daytimes, because my people knew and understood, because I share my vision. This is what I'm creating. We have a disaster. I need to teach my children it's not just about us and how good we did. It's now about all these people that are homeless. It's now about all these people with no power, with everything they own gone. Like, it's about those people now. How do we get out and help those people, not just stay inside? Because within 3 days, we had power back. Within 7 days, we had power and water back. And we live in a luxury apartment complex that was only 3 years old. So other than knock down trees, within a week and a half, we had power, we had water, our pool was clean, and we were back to living on a resort. It would have been very easy to stay in our resort and completely miss the devastation in our city. Okay, it's a choice in the way you're building your business and the way you live your life. Okay, and it's an important choice that must be protected. Okay, today, the foundation of what you're doing builds on that picture. So like Ann said, with finding your why, it's going deep. Why are you doing this? Well, because I want to create financial freedom. Okay, why do you want to create financial freedom? Because I don't want to have to work all day every day. Okay, why don't you want to have to work all day every day? Just keep asking why until you go so deep that you're like, because I don't want my kids to see me struggle like I saw my parents struggle. Right? Like, that's a reason that will help fuel you. I want my kids to know how to help people. I want my kids to seek God because it's important to them, not because I do it. Right? Like, I don't want my kids to just do whatever I do just because it's habit. I want my kids to know why they do stuff and to have a passion for that like I do. Right? Like, that's important to me. When I see people in need, I want to be able to help. That's important to me. So all of that shapes the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reason we're doing a 5-day virtual challenge is because I can do this from anywhere in the world. The reason I have that backdrop, you can't tell where I'm at. I can move today, tomorrow. I could move for the next 5 days. It will always look like this. It will always look professional and clean. I will give you my excuse, or I'll give you a secret. This is a cloth backdrop from Amazon for $30. You know why?
Rubbing it in, Aaron.
What'd you say?
So rubbing it in, I see. Oh my goodness.
You know why? It folds up and it fits in a suitcase. So if God says go, all this fits in a suitcase.
Okay,
and then we just roll off and we do what God tells us to do. And I could fire up Zoom and I could do it from there. I could stream in and I could teach people and I could coach people and I could build systems with people, and we can have software running and life will continue. We can make money and help people. That's what it's all about.
And you're not going to be able to grow your business without focus, like focusing on that one thing. I'm just going to focus on, wholesaling, for example, is what we're doing. We're going to focus on wholesaling. And then the other thing is that take action. Honestly, I pay for the same thing Aaron did as a program. What did I go out and do? I took action. I went out there and did what they said to do. I put out bandit signs, actually. But anyways, and then the third thing is if you aren't consistent. So, it's focus on the one thing, take action and the consistency. Because let me tell you, I was not consistent until I ran into Aaron. And he taught me a lot of things. He's here to show you that. And the biggest thing is he helped me also get over shiny object syndrome as well. I literally, when something comes to me, they tell us to keep an open mind for opportunity, but what it is you have to focus on how is that going to fit in my life, and is it really important right now? Is it going to pertain to my business that I'm building right now? Am I there yet with my business? Can it run on its own without me there? Then I can start a new one. And so if it doesn't, nope, not doing it. How many hours? Oh, nope, that's not me. So those three things is something very serious for a business to keep running.
Absolutely. And that's how you guys are going to shape your days. Okay. So I know we're 45 minutes in. I see a few people commenting. Is this making any sense to you? Put it in the comments. Let us know. If you think it's a bunch of BS, put it in the comments. Let me know. I'm perfectly okay with it. You won't offend me at all. I was a cop for 5.5 years. Remember, all feedback is good feedback. I will learn and grow with you. That's the way I see it. I hope you see it the same. Put it in the comments. Let us know if this is making sense or if there's any light bulbs going off, right? Because I blocked everything in that wholesaling weekend and went out and made 108,000 from another country in 3 hours or less while being present with my girls. That was what I was trying to create, and that's what happened. Okay. The lady sitting next to me thought, I might try it. Where are you at right now? What are you deciding to do? Even if it's not wholesaling in our method that we're showing you this week, that's fine. I will give you valuable stuff this week, I promise. But put it in the comments. Tell us what you're doing, because I want to hear about it. I want to see if it's clicking, if it's making sense. Now, I want to show you, what if we take this and we plug it in and we see how it works. See you tomorrow, Ann.
Sorry, guys. Got a closing.
Okay. Putting those money-making tasks first. That's good. What if we actually put this to work inside our businesses, right? What's that look like? How do we take control of things? How does this idea of financial freedom of $25K a month in 4 hours or less actually start working in our lives, right? That's what's important. And so let's say we take that idea, okay? It helps you figure out how you're going to do stuff and why. I want to give you a simple thing you can do, a simple exercise you can do, because here's your homework for today. I want you to start figuring out that picture, right? We've had a few people comment, right? Like financial freedom, 8K a month. I see helping my elderly parents so I could safely commit 20 to 30 hours a week working. Good. Creating financial wealth. What is financial wealth? Go deeper. Learn to scale my lead generation. Okay, perfect. That's what the next couple of days are going to be great about. The 6K a month, role model for my little ones. Perfect. Okay, so having those things in mind, first thing we have to do is learn how to take control of your time. You have to know where you're spending your time every day so we can spend time on the money-making tasks, right? Because the money-making tasks, as you shrink your work time, which if you're thinking financial freedom, like for me, how do I pick up and go when God says go? How do I work 25K a month in less than 4 hours a day, right? I have to know where that time's going. When I was in China, I wanted to be present with my daughters, not just working while they're running around the house, right? I didn't want to click on the TV and be like, watch that because I got to work. I wanted to work when I was working. I wanted to be present with my wife and my girls when I was with them. I wanted to be present with my girls when I was with them. And so scheduling and time blocking and having a realistic idea of what's going on is huge. The facts are huge, okay? When it comes to laying out what your business is going to be about, choose now. What is it that you're going to do? Is it wholesaling? I saw somebody put creative finance. Dedicate to creative finance. Don't try to flip. Don't try to get an apartment complex. If somebody asks you about syndication, no idea, not interested, don't even go looking. Only look at creative finance. This week, we're going to talk about creating leads through organic methods on Facebook. So that's what we're going to focus on. Everything's going to revolve around that this week. Okay. So get focused on one thing. I don't care what it is. Pick something and say, this is what I'm doing. And if you're a wholesaler, you're going to start creating, right? Like we're going to create this for you today, is how do you get to your first 100K organically by pulling leads through Facebook? Okay. And so every day for the next 4 days is going to revolve around finding leads for free on Facebook and putting the systems, automation, and practices in place that will help you make your first 100K organically through Facebook leads, right? So that's the focus of this week. What's your focus? So pick a focus. And then now we're wholesaling through finding leads. How do we do that? First thing we're going to do is organize your time. So I want you to take 3 pieces of paper out or 3 separate notes on your phone. It doesn't really matter, but I want you to be able to make 3 separate lists. And the first one I call your have-tos. The second one I call your flexibles. The third one I call your wants. Okay. So if you take 3 separate pieces of paper, at the top of one of them, write have-tos. The things you have to do at set times. If you have a W-2 job and you have kids that have to be at school at 7 o'clock in the morning, I don't even know what time kids have to be to school. Sorry. I homeschool. We do what we want when we want. So whatever time kids have to be to school or to be on the bus, right? You have to get them to the corner by a certain time for them to get on the bus so they're at school on time. Any of those things are have-tos. I have to be to work at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay. I want you to write down on that list everything that has to be done at a set time. So if you have a W-2 job from 8 to 5, it's not 8 to 5 because you probably have a break at 10 for 15 minutes. So it would be from 8 to 10 is a have to W-2 job. From 10 to 10:15 is open. It's free time. And you need to write that down. Or you need to block that out and leave it open, right? Then from 10:15 to noon is W-2 job. It's a have to. You have to be there from 10:15 after your break ends to 12 for lunch. If you get an hour for lunch, then leave from 12 to 1 open. From 1 to 3, W-2 job. You see what I'm saying? So you're writing down W-2 job, 8 o'clock a.m. to 10. And then 10:15 to 12. 1 to 3. 3:15 to 5. So that you're leaving those little windows open in the break times and the lunch times. Okay. Now, on that have to list, you're writing down everything you have to do like that. I have to at those times. I have to have the kids up at 6:30 so I can have them to the corner by 7. They have to be on the bus at 7, right? Write down everything. Your second list is called the flexibles. These are things that have to be done, but the time doesn't matter, right? Like I have to do the dishes. I have to do laundry. I have to clean the house. I have to pay the insurance on the car or something, right? But when I do it doesn't matter. I could start the dishes at noon, 1 in the afternoon, or 1 in the morning. Doesn't really matter. I could start the laundry on my lunch break and then finish it up on my break in the afternoon or when I get home from work. Write down everything that has to be done, but the time you do it is flexible. And on the third list, you're writing wants at the top. I want to start wholesaling business. I want to read this book. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to run a marathon. Whatever it is, write them down on your wants. Okay. Then you're going to take an empty calendar and you're going to start plugging those things into the calendar from your have-tos, your flexibles, and your wants. Okay. And if you take and you plug in your have-tos, you're blocking that time on your calendar. So if you have to be to work from 8 to 10, then block out on your calendar from 8 to 10 and put in there W-2 job. And then from 10:15 to noon, you block that time on your calendar. It says W-2 job. And now you'll see a little white space on your calendar from 10 to 10:15. That's visually showing you that time is open. Now, after you've plugged in all of your have-tos on a whole week calendar, go back to that second list of flexibles, the things that have to be done, but it doesn't really matter when. And you say, okay, I got to do the laundry. And then you look at your calendar and you see there's a 10 to 10:15 open space. There's a noon to 1 open space, right? And you take your flexibles and you plug them into those little holes. Like I work from home, so I can start laundry at 10 when I go on my break. I can switch the laundry to the dryer at noon. Then I can take 30 minutes to eat my lunch. And then I can take 20 minutes that's remaining of my hour lunch break. And I can read as part of my wants in that time. Or I can finish the dishes in that time. So you can change the laundry, you can eat your lunch, and you can do the dishes in your lunch break. You see how plugging those into your calendar, you're going to end up with a calendar that says, I do this at this time, this at this time, this at this time, this at this time. And then you have to guard that like it's life or death. Because you have to remember whether those people in Kenya get fresh water through a well that I dig for them or not depends on whether I show up and do the things on my calendar on time or not. Like, it's that important. Whether you get to spend time at home with your kids, being an example to your kids, making $6K a month, $8K a month, $25K a month, and showing them that you're actually doing things and that you are motivated and driven and accomplished and successful parents, and teaching them how to do the same. It all depends on that little calendar and whether you show up on time or not for everything, right? You show up at your W-2 job, you work your W-2 job. When it's time to quit, you quit and you work on your stuff that gets you moving. You don't put off your stuff for that. You give them what you've told them, 8 to 5 with the break times. And then you commit to what you're doing. And you block the time out to do it. This you have blocked. If you are watching live or on the replay, you have given an hour of your time to this, which means you can make a choice at any time to take an hour, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and dedicate it to something. If you don't take the time and dedicate it to it, you will end up mindlessly scrolling on some social channel. So block it, right? Is this making sense? Does this make sense to people? Put it, even if you're watching on the replays, put it in the comments. Like, is this making sense? Are you understanding the calendars? I will share a graphic with you that will walk you through how to make your lists and how to plug them into your calendar, okay? I'll share some of that over today or tomorrow. We'll make sure we get it posted because I want to make sure it makes sense to you, and then we can go over it in the VIP access room for those of you who are in there. But is this making sense? Take your have-tos, your flexibles, your wants. You start blocking time for your have-tos, then block out your flexibles in the gaps that are open in between. Then you take your wants and you plug them into the space that's remaining. Now, you start living by that calendar, and every day you don't have shiny object syndrome because it's like, nope, I got to do this at this time. Oh, nope, I'm working on wholesaling at this time. Nope, I interact in Facebook this very specific way to get leads from noon to 12:30 during my lunch break so that I can have leads coming in the afternoon while I finish working on my W-2 job. Then when I get off at 5, I spend 30 minutes responding to people. Then I go home and I have dinner with my family. Then after everybody's in bed, I spend 30 minutes responding to people and posting in this way to bring more leads in. You see, if you have very specific times to do stuff, like show up to this at 10 Eastern, you show up. Now, every single thing that you're going to do for yourself, I want you to write down that it is a meeting with somebody. Make up a person if you want, right? Like my virtual secretary, who doesn't exist, by the way, everything that is automated is Rihanna. I don't know why I just pulled the name out, or it popped up somewhere and I was like, okay, yeah, Rihanna, that's fine. So literally, if I have time scheduled to do something, it's on my calendar as like a meeting with Rihanna. And Rihanna doesn't exist. Remember, Rihanna is just somebody that I say, I have a meeting with my secretary, Rihanna, to work on this at this time. Because you'll show up to a meeting with somebody, but if it's just you working on something that could change your entire future forever, you won't respect it enough to show up most of the time. And so I want you to take these little things like time blocking out every single thing you do, and then acting like every single thing is a meeting with somebody else. And if you believe in God the way I do, and we do everything as though we're doing it for the Lord, right? I'm never going to push anything on anybody, but I'm going to tell you what I believe because this is why my business is built the way it is. I believe I'm doing everything for God, right? Like if he was standing here, I would do it with excellence. And so I use that as well. I'm like, hey, if God was actually standing here with me, would this be good enough, or am I dragging my feet or shortcutting to just get through this thing, right? And so make it an interaction with somebody else, right? That will help you respect the time because your dreams are worth it. Your goals are worth it. Your family, who you're trying to create financial freedom for, is worth it. The rest of the world will disagree and they will try to steal your time and they will try to push on you what they want. But you have to choose today. This is important to me. What I'm saying in the comments that I want to create for my family, the financial freedom for my family, to teach my family, to help my parents, to be an example to my children. That stuff is important. if you don't think it's important enough to show up for, the rest of the world definitely will not respect it as well. But just like when I say it's important for me to be able to help people when things happen, and then the hurricane happens, there's not a single one of my clients that got mad at me for skipping calls or rescheduling calls, because they know what's important to me. That's the way it is, period. You will come second to what God has called me to do in my life. You will come second to my family and creating the life that I'm trying to create for them. I want you to have that same sort of tenacity for your dreams, because if you don't, nobody else will. Okay. I want to help you find it. I want to help you put some hard goals to it and to make it work. So detail out today before tomorrow. This is your implementation. What do you do? I'm a wholesaler. I help flippers find their next flip. Great. That's what we're focusing on this week, right? We help flippers find their next flip. You're going to wholesale properties to make your first 100K organically. That's what we're going to work on. That's what we do, right? Why are we doing it? Because we're trying to create 8K, 6K a month for our family so we can set an example for our kids. What do your kids see when they see you doing that? What does it feel like to have your kids look at you and go, man, Mom, that's awesome. Good job, Dad. That's really cool. I'm glad you're not one that has to leave. Okay, that literally just brought up a story. When we were living in Charlotte, North Carolina, year 2 after real estate, right? Did 108,000 from China as a stay-at-home dad. We come back from China to Charlotte, North Carolina. We had started going to church there. We made some friends there. And I remember we went over to breakfast at a friend's house. And my daughter was only, I think she was 5 years old at the time. My oldest, so 5 years old and 3 years old. And she comes up to me and she goes, Daddy, why are the other daddies having to leave? And I looked around and I realized that like 2 or 3 people had, said their goodbyes and had left for the morning. And I hadn't really thought anything about it. She goes, why are the other daddies leaving? And I looked around and I thought about it. I was like, oh, baby, they have to go to work. And that was the first time that it ever really hit me. And it hit me deep, like in my heart, where my daughter doesn't know a world where daddy gets up and leaves the house all day to go and try to make money for the family. My kids don't even know that. Like they've never seen it. As far as what they understand of work is that I turn on the computer and I flip it open and I teach people stuff, or I talk to people, or did you sell a house today? Right? Like that's what my kids understand. My kids see it as like, I'm always right here. My kids see me come out and eat lunch with them. My kids have me walk through and kiss them on the head while they're reading and doing homeschooling. My kids have a bad day and it's like, hey, you know what? Let's go rock climbing. Let's go hiking. Let's get out of the house for a little bit. And we go and we do stuff together. My kids go, Daddy, can we go get ice cream? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Like, because they've created a flexibility in the business that allows me to actually put my family first. Okay. And I want you guys to have the same. I know it's deeply rooted and you want that, right? And so I want you to have the same. Think about it. And that's what this goal is for today to tomorrow, right? Is create that picture. What is it we're doing and why? Okay. Because tomorrow we're going to start talking about systems and automation and the way that you're going to start bringing in traffic and leads and the way you make your offers and the way you work your deals and the way you do that stuff. It all revolves off of this, because the only reason you will block out all the shiny object and do this is because you have a clear picture of what that looks like. You can feel it, you can taste it, you can smell it, right? Like it sounds bad and weird, but I can feel it and smell it. The slums of Kenya. Like it is serious to me. Like I can send myself back there and put myself in that state to where I can relate to those people again, right? It's important to me to be able to do something. And I want you guys to have the same. So we are at 1 hour and 4. I have went over and I'm going to try, like I said, to respect your time and not keep going all day. So dig into your picture. What is it you're doing? Why are you doing it that way? Who are you helping, right? So just a preamble again, we are trying to find wholesale deals organically, motivated sellers partnerships through Facebook. So organic leads through Facebook to get to your first 100K, right? So that you can do it from home. You can do it from anywhere, outside the job, in the middle of the night, doesn't matter. What I'm going to teach you this week will work after hours, in the middle of the night, on your breaks during the day. I understand you have jobs. I understand you have families. So I'm going to show you how to make it work around that stuff. Okay. That way you can create the financial freedom that you want with the family, not instead of the family, and hope you have time for them later. How do you live like that now? Okay. That's what we're after. So we're creating leads through Facebook to get to your first 100K. Who are you speaking to? Start thinking about who we're speaking to. We're going to be speaking to cash buyers, motivated sellers, and other investors, like other wholesalers and things. Okay. So when we think about those people, we think, how do we talk to those people? That's going to be part of what we get into tomorrow, is how are we speaking to them that makes them want to do business, makes them want to sell their house to you, makes them want to partner with you, makes them want to buy from you. How does what you're going today running into that, right? So tomorrow's automation and systems for the next 2 days. And then day 4, we're going to dig into traffic and show you how to leverage your Facebook profile to actually bring in free leads, and how to work the algorithm to make that stuff work for you. And then on day 5, John Kraus is going to special guest for us. He actually does lending on finance deals like fix and flips and remodels and everything else you can think of. And so he'll be a good guy to have as a contact. And also he's going to share with us a list of things that you need to have kind of lined up if you're ever trying to get financing for your deals. Because I want to make sure that you guys don't have any excuses out of this week. I want to make sure that you know how to find leads, that you know how to work the leads, that you know how to get funding if you need it, and then how to actually like create the systems to where you can scale. Somebody mentioned scaling below. As we go into the next 2 days, having a clear vision today and the time blocked when you're going to work on what you're working on, right? The next 2 days are going to be huge. If you know that, we can create the next 2 days. Okay. So it's super important that you start putting in some thought here, right? Like, why are we creating it? How are we creating it? Okay. Because the next 2 days, we're going to dig into the systems and actually making it work. So that is all I have for today. If you guys have VIP access, I will shoot you a link, probably just for a Zoom. I'm going to shoot you a Zoom link and in your Facebook Messenger here. So as soon as we're done, look for a Zoom link. We'll fire up the Zoom. Go ahead and take a bathroom break, grab a drink, and then come and jump in, and we'll make sure we get your questions answered, and we can talk about what was going on today if you have any questions. And for those of you who are not VIP access, post it in the comments, even if you're watching on the replay. Tell me if this made sense. Tell me like you're starting to detail out your plan. Put it in the comments. Let us know what you're working on so there's some accountability to it. Take action this week. And then remember, we have through the weekend to catch up on the replays. Next week, it all gets deleted. So get caught up this week and actually do the work. And then we'll see you guys tomorrow on day 2. We can start digging into automations and systems, which is like my favorite part, because that's the only way you're able to do things from another country or with your family, or allowing other people, employees and stuff, automation and employees to do it for you, is the stuff we're going to talk about the next 2 days. So huge on scaling. I'm excited for the next couple of days. And I'm always enjoy sharing stories with you guys. If you guys have stories, put them in the comments or make a post. It's cool. I love to hear your stories and if there was any breakthroughs for you. So I'll stop rambling. We can jump into VIP access. Watch your messenger. I'll shoot you a link here shortly. And then we will see the rest of you tomorrow.